Welcome to week 7 of our recap of Big Brother. And so the week starts off with a bang. Riley gets voted off. Katherine is blindsided. It was a tight vote. Probably the tightest vote, or the closest vote of the season. And we get an inside scoop of those last moments before the vote. And Ava is devastated that she was convinced last minute to vote out Riley. And then, surprisingly, we have Vinny also being like, oh, this was so stressful for me to vote out Riley over Morgan, who's supposed to be his final two. That didn't make sense to me.
I think there's a lot of good actors in this season. I think Vince is a very good actor because he is aligned with everybody. I think Mickey is a good actress because she wants the appearance. Any given week, she is going to be whatever character is aligned with whoever the house likes the best, even if she's not really aligned with them. And I think that's showing in her current alliances.
Really quick on Mickey. I found it funny that I feel like she felt left out in the whole, ooh, I didn't know who to vote for. And she was trying to act like voting out Riley also was tough for her. And she was telling this to Ashley. And Ashley was like, what are you even talking about? Like, Morgan's supposed to be like, you're the closest person you're with in this house. And then she was like, I'm completely over Mickey after that, which made complete sense.
Just because you can see she's always trying to capitalize on any moment that she can. And whatever moment gets her the most sympathy. I think in that moment with Ashley, she was trying to paint this idea that she's super well liked in the house, even though everybody sees right through it. And it's just like, Ashley's like, really? Like, you why are you doing this with me?
For sure.
Like, a person that you're aligned with, like, you don't have to front with me. I know that you and Riley are not aligned. I mean, I guess technically they could be. This is something that I want to get to with Rachel, is how she has found herself in a good spot, but it's also a little messy the way she is getting into Ava's mind with Ava's vote to vote out Riley over Morgan. Because in Ava's head, Morgan is the obvious choice. But Ava doesn't realize that there's an alliance there. And I think the same thing is happening with Vince. But before we get into the Rachel, Vince, Keanu situation, I think it's really important to talk about the meat of the week. And that is, we called it last week. We said, the second that Vince gets a chance, he will take the shot. And
he didn't.
He
wanted to,
but he did not.
Because I feel and I understand Morgan convinced him. Really, you can say Morgan controlled Rachel's fate this week in Rachel not being nominated. And she made some valid points. I do feel like lines have been drawn in the sand. And at this point, you've already made your decision, Vinny, Vince. Like, stick with it. So you can't be going back and forth. You already burned the other side of the house. Trying to mend it this week by nominating Rachel, I don't think was the move. At least from my perspective, I feel like he's already made the decision of going with the judges. And that's the point Morgan made. She was like, pretty much nominate anyone but the judges. Like, the judges is the alliance right now that's going to take us further in the game. And I agree that that's probably the case.
Yeah, I guess I think what was best for Vinny's game was to nominate Rachel, but it would have absolutely just destroyed his alliance with Morgan. And so, but I do find it super interesting that Vince has been playing a lot of people's HOHs, and during this HOH, Morgan really was at the helm of his decision making. And for sure, like, it's really stressful to have to pick a side, and I'm sure, like, it would be easier for him to just, like, go with his own game. But I just can imagine the stress you're under as somebody who's, like, dreamed of doing this. And, like, of course, on the outside looking in, it's way easier. Like, I still believe he should have taken the shot. And this is coming from somebody who, I don't want Rachel to go. Like, I'm kind of team Rachel right now.
You just always wonder then, if she takes the shot at him, then he's always going to regret that he had the chance and he didn't do it.
Because she is going to take the shot at him. It would be dumb not to, and he knows it. And that's why he even had this whole meltdown. Like, why did I do this? Why didn't I? Like, I always say don't play scared, and I played scared. I don't believe he played scared. It was a strategy to like maintain the strength of his connection with Morgan, and then by proxy the judges. I don't think he really cares about the judges. I think he cares about having number one. It's important to her, and he wants to get to the end, and he thinks that Morgan is the way to do it. Versus, like, Katherine. Like, Katherine's not going to get into the end. Keanu's probably not going to get into the end. Riley certainly didn't get into the end. So, he's just kind of in Morgan's pocket right now, which I find very interesting.
But I feel like it was more between, do I side with Morgan or do I side with Lauren? Mm-hmm. So it's like...
There was that little...
It was that. It was pretty much that. It was like, Morgan is telling me, don't put up Rachel. Put up someone like Katherine, and Lauren is telling me don't put up Katherine, put somebody up like Rachel.
Which is so crazy because Lauren used the veto on Vince to save him last week, and he still didn't side with her. And that's where, like, Lauren and Katherine, I think this is the perfect time to address Lauren and Katherine, is that when Lauren was HOH, she played it safe. And Katherine told her, don't play safe. When Ava was HOH and Katherine won the veto, and she said, if I use this veto, they both implied that Morgan was going to be a backdoor and they were going to take Morgan out. That was 2 weeks ago. And she said, I don't want to play safe, I want to do this. And then in the end, what did she do? She played safe and she didn't use the veto. And I believe that these are the consequences of her playing safe 2 weeks ago. These are the consequences of Lauren playing safe in week 3. You play safe, it comes back to bite you. The same thing is going to happen to Vinny. The first chance, an Ava, a Rachel, maybe even like I could see at this point, Lauren does not trust Vince. She cannot possibly trust Vince. Vince is taking out 2 of her allies. And, like, she could even kind of blame him for taking out crying Zach.
Yeah, even Kelly. Like, Kelly, who had a final 2 with him on day 2, I believe, also doesn't trust him.
He's blowing up all these other alliances. And it's going to come back to bite him.
But he's putting all his eggs on the judges.
Yeah.
Like, Will, Ashley, Rachel, Morgan. He needs one of those people to win the next HOH.
For sure.
If anybody else, maybe a Keanu. Him and Keanu, we now realize are kind of close. That was interesting. We'll probably go into that in a second here. And the whole Keanu trying to get Rachel nominated and Katherine getting in his head. But yeah, I feel like anybody but the judges that wins HOH, he is gonna be probably a strong consideration to go on the block.
I don't know. I think that Vince is smart enough to realize, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think the only person in the judges that will keep Vince safe is Morgan and, like, maybe Will. But even then, I think Will is smarter than that. And I think Vince is smarter than that. I think that Vince said it like a couple of weeks ago. He said, when I walk into a room and somebody says an alliance, you go, oh yeah, of course. He was brought into that room. He was never going to say no. I do not believe for 1 second that he has any true loyalty to the judges. It's just unfortunate that Morgan is committed and has loyalty to the judges, which I still find very strange that, like, there is this obsession with Rachel in the house, and I think the moment somebody gets an opportunity to get close to her, they suddenly become, like, infatuated by her, because, like, even Morgan and Rachel had their little tiffs, right? When Morgan was like, I want to see you in jury. And Rachel was like, the hell you do? Like, what are you talking about? You know, but I think she saw an in with Rachel and she like clung to it.
Yeah.
Which I just find it's like a phenomenon that happens in there. I think it happened to Keanu. I think it happened to Morgan. And I think you have a really good point to make about Keanu and what has happened to Keanu.
It's crazy how Keanu went from being Rachel's puppy and wanting to, being obsessed with her and wanting to please her and wanting to pretty much go final two with her. And Katherine now, week 7, starting to play the game after Riley getting voted out.
Finally.
And finally, she showed up and she was like, I need to start playing the game. What's going on? She realized that Keanu and Rachel were very close, and she's like, I need to plant a seed in his head to get him to start targeting Rachel. And she tells him, hey, just so you know, if you make it to final 2 with Rachel, you're going to lose the game. And so, like, this detonated in Keanu's head. And it's so crazy for me that he immediately went to, we need to get Rachel out of the house. I understand, yes, Katherine's point is valid. Yes, I don't think Keanu could beat Rachel in a final 2. I don't think anybody could beat Rachel if Rachel makes it to the last 2 chambers.
If she makes it, she deserves to win.
She deserves to win,
because
exactly.
it's an impossible feat, for sure.
But
I'm with you.
That doesn't mean that Keanu shouldn't try and hitch a ride with Rachel as far as he can in the game, at least to like final 5, final 4. It's way too early for him now to all of a sudden completely shift his game and decide, you know what, Rachel is the number 1 target.
He has been the number 1 target in the house for such a long time. Yes, he had the light bulb moment when Katherine told him that. But it was an opportunity to capitalize because he does not want to be the person to get Rachel out. I do think he still has that like love and infatuation for Rachel, and I think he was blinded by that, and that's why he didn't see like, hey, if I go to final 2, Rachel's gonna beat me. It just took another person to give him that like aha light bulb moment. But I think he just saw it as like, Vince is a person that I can convince to put up Rachel. They've been going at it. I can capitalize on this moment to say, hey Vince, it's now or never. Is it too early for Keanu's game for Rachel to go? Yes. Is it the right move, I think? Yes. Do I think Keanu's in a safe, good spot regardless of whether or not Rachel goes home? No. I think Keanu will forever be a target. But I think it was more about capitalizing on the moment. But I do want to make this point about Rachel's kind of messiness in her alignments and how like she's lucky that it hasn't come back to her because people aren't asking the right questions. And I also think she missed an opportunity to capitalize on the confusion, because when Rachel convinced Ava to keep Morgan, Ava went with it, and then Ava was like, what the hell was that? Like, why did I vote to do that? Because she obviously doesn't know that Rachel and Morgan are aligned. So then comes Keanu to Vince saying Rachel's name. Vince goes to Rachel and says, Keanu says your name. And then Rachel immediately runs to Keanu, and Keanu's like, well, I didn't say that, I love you. And then Keanu runs back to Vince.
Like, why would you tell her that?
Vince is like, Rachel, why would you even tell Keanu this? Like, this is the most nonsensical thing. I could never even imagine the two of you just not, like, arguing. Like, why would you even go back? Like, we're aligned. This is where she missed an opportunity. This would have changed the whole week, in my opinion. This was her opportunity to say, Vince, I need to tell you the truth. Even though this wouldn't have been the truth, she would have made it the story. She would have said, Keanu and I have been aligned for however long she wants to say, and he was the reason that I nominated you and put you up on the block last week. He said your name. He promised me safety if I didn't put him up, and he wanted me to put you up, so I did.
Yeah.
And then Vince Keanu would have gone home.
But
Keanu would have gone home last
do
week.
you think Vince wouldn't have not gone back to Keanu? Because it is strange how close Keanu and Vince appear all of a sudden to be.
Vince is close with everybody.
They're like crying together.
Vince is crying with everybody. Keanu's crying with everybody.
Yes, they're having like these heart-to-hearts together, and so that's where it's just very strange that it's from the outside we can see who's close to each other, but it is interesting to see how within the house they really don't know how close they are with each other. And that was a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Like, again, Vince, Rachel, Keanu, just all going in this, like, telephone circle, telling each other all their secrets and everything that's going on, but not realizing that the reason the other person is getting the information is because they're so close.
I just think that it was an opportunity that she could have capitalized on it, and she could have very easily switched the target back to Keanu, because Vince had an opportunity to renom, and there was already confusion in between Vince and Keanu when Vince mentions that Riley had mentioned Keanu's name at one point or another previously, and Keanu's like, what? Like, I think Rachel could have created some confusion in between Vince and Keanu and said, well, like, Keanu's the reason that you went up, and now I think I'm close with Keanu, and Keanu's telling you that I should go up. So it sounds to me like Keanu's going after both you and me. So it sounds to me like Keanu might be your best opportunity to renom and finally get one of the biggest targets out of the house. It would be great for your game, Vince. And boom, Keanu could have gone home. But I think she was blindsided by him even throwing her to the bus, because he's so obsessed with her. Like, I think she really thought that she was untouchable when it comes to Keanu.
Speaking of blindsides, the house was blindsided again by Mickey winning the veto.
Goodness. I was blindsided by
because this was another week where Mickey was guaranteed to go home.
Oh my gosh.
If she was on the block for the final two people to get voted out. And there's something to be said about people knowing that they're at, like, extreme risk of getting voted out, and this, like, survival instinct coming out, and them being able to win competitions.
For sure.
Keanu did it early on, winning, like, those 3 or 4 competitions or vetoes. And then now we've seen Mickey go from winning a blockbuster to winning a veto in back-to-back weeks, when she, again, 100% was supposed to be the person going home this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's definitely a psychological element to it. And I also think that maybe it gives us a little bit, like, get deep for a minute, but I think it gives us a little bit of insight into, like, who Mickey really is, because I really think that Mickey wakes up every single week and chooses a character about, like, who she's going to align with, who she's in charge of, who she's in control over, whether it's delusion or, like, purposeful strategy.
She lacks the self-awareness is what I think.
She does, but I also think that deep down she feels on the outs. Like, she knows that Morgan and Vince are tight. She knows that, like, Rachel and Ashley and Will are tight. Like, she knows that she's on the out of every single alliance or connection that she has deep down, and I think she wants to play this persona that's larger than life and confident, so it maybe, like, tricks everybody else into doing it, even though they can see right through it, because she doesn't have the same kind of charisma as somebody like a Vince does, or as somebody like a Rachel does, because when you lack the ability to, like, be vulnerable and scared, like, at least, like, authentically, because I think that she even did try to go in to Vince and, like, cry to him at one point and, like, play this, like, emotion card, and he was like, I see what she's doing because I did that same thing last week, you know, and it's just really hard because people just don't really see her as genuine. So I think it, like, gives a little bit of insight into how she's really feeling, and that's why she just flip-flops all over the place, because I do think she's really scared, like, deep down. She's just trying not to show it because she doesn't want to show her vulnerability.
I just feel like I vaguely remember her kind of saying, like, oh, I'm awesome. And it was like, well, you don't know that the whole house pretty much wants to vote you out right now.
I'm awesome. Nobody will ever vote me out. And Ashley was like, girl, I would vote you out right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. If they called an impromptu surprise vote, like, you would be gone right now.
But it's crazy. She's going to continue to be a target for the house, at least for the immediate future. I feel like most people want her out. So she's either going to have to continue winning competitions, win an HOH, But if not, she can find herself easily outside of that.
It's going to be really hard because I really don't think she has any genuine, close, like, number one, number two reliable partners. Like, I even think Morgan is over her, Ashley's over her. I love that when she won, Rachel and Morgan ran in to, like, the stock room with her, like, yay, we're so excited that you won. But I don't think they really care, and I think they would both get her out in 2 seconds.
And they're also, like, it's crazy how her and Morgan are now, like, butting heads kind of publicly in front of everyone. And how Morgan even said, like, she's only pissed because she literally blew up her own game. Like, everybody now realize the way she was playing, and nobody now wants to be associated with her.
For sure.
And then now she's, like, acting all pissed, but it's like, you should be pissed at yourself. Like, you really caused all of this on yourself. Then we quickly can mention Kelly won the blockbuster.
The blockbuster.
And interesting talking about the blockbuster. Do you think the blockbuster is going to be around much longer?
I don't even know why the blockbuster is still a thing. We're in week 7. We're more than halfway through the season. Why are you making people have the risk of nominating 4 people? It is too many people. It literally makes it impossible for you to have alignment with people and for you to build trust with people, whether or not you're playing them. Like, I really do feel for Vince, because Vince should not have to nominate 4 people in week 7 of Big Brother.
Can I tell you my prediction? I think this was the last week that 3 people are going to be nominated.
I really hope so.
Because if you notice, in the next week, they all of a sudden brought back the mastermind.
The internet reminded them of the mastermind.
I didn't even remember about the mastermind.
Yeah,
I saw it and I was like, what? When did this guy, like, what happened to that guy? I feel like the show forgot.
They
about
did,
the
100%.
mastermind.
No, you sent me that article. They saw the article too, and they were like, "Oh shit, we had the mastermind."
This is how we started the whole game.
Yeah, this is. Did anyone remember the mastermind?
And then now they're like, "Oh shoot, we need to bring this back."
We gotta tie this.
So
up
I
with
think
a
that's
little,
what they're
a
gonna
little
tie it
bell.
up with. Mastermind's gonna come back and be like, "Okay, now we don't have to nominate, 3 people," and I feel like that's gonna be the end of that. But I do feel like the mastermind was underutilized this season. It seemed like it was gonna be such a big thing, kind of like the AI last season, and like they mentioned him episode 1, and then we're 7 weeks deep, and he is now gonna come back next week.
Yeah.
So
I think they should have, like, I hope that they put it into it, because they did not take the opportunity to utilize him and it's like full potential. Because I think what they should have done is they should have just like forced house guests into like little tiny mini missions that could win them, even if it's like small little things like, hey, if you complete this little secret mission from the mastermind, the house doesn't even really need to know about it. But if you complete this mission, you can win $5,000, and you can win this power. Even if it's like a small power. Or something like that, where you like get some kind of bonus here and there. Like, I think that would have been a fun way to use the mastermind, where you don't necessarily have to like wrap him up into every single element of the show. I think that would have been really fun, and it would have played into the theme of the show, which is Hotel Mystere. It's like, to me, it's like murder mystery. Like, that's how I think they should have done it. Maybe that's how they intended to do it, but they definitely forgot about it. And I just think...
Speaking about powers, it is interesting, though, how there were these 3 powers, but that they were all used up in a matter of, like, 2 weeks. In the first 2 weeks, like...
That's what I'm saying. We should have had more of that. Yeah. I think that's what the mastermind could have brought to the season. Yeah. So, like, hello, CBS, if you need someone to help you give ideas of things that are clearly poorly thought out by whoever's working there now... I'm unemployed.
Hey.
I'm unemployed. I have good ideas. I'm over it.
That was your open to work LinkedIn little.
Who needs LinkedIn? Is at the past. This is how you do it now. This is modern marketing for your career.
And then the weekend's off with Ava and Katherine being the final 2 on the block, and pretty much it being a unanimous vote, right? With
I think Lauren.
Lauren being the only
Yeah.
person
Which we
not to
understand.
vote to evict Katherine.
And it's the end of an era of the season. It is the end of the final and really only showmance of the season. Goodbye, good riddance to Riley and Katherine.
They didn't even make it to the jury house.
They didn't make it to jury, and you know what? It's just they showed up late. I would have loved to see Katherine do more. I would have loved to see Katherine not play scared, like she said, like she wanted to. And I think that this is something that maybe only people who have played Big Brother can attest to, because until you're in it, until you've experienced it, you really don't know what it's like. I think you just so desperately want to like play big, and then in the moment, it is really hard. Especially when you get to know these people on like a real personal level, and you're like surrounded, and you're like in your mind and overthinking it. I think it's always easy to play safe, but
you do get close to people too. Like I could see how Ava was very affected by the whole voting out Riley last week, and like being close and like, you know, feeling like you're betraying people.
For sure.
It is probably very tough to be in there, because you are interacting with these people 24/7. That's what it's like. It's not like going to work where you can leave, go home, and then come back the next day. And like, no, you're in there and you're living with these people and interacting with them all the time.
Talk about how funny it was when Lauren was talking to Ashley about the vote, and Ava was in the room asleep. Lauren like just spilled all the tea. But I also feel like, of all people, of course Lauren wasn't gonna vote Katherine out. That's understandable. I know she wanted to vote with the house. She didn't need to in this vote. There's opportunities where you can vote against the house. Anybody would understand it. Just like Katherine would have never voted Riley out, and she didn't. Lauren would never vote Katherine out, and she didn't. And like, best of luck to Katherine and Riley. I think somebody said, I think it was on the Big Brother Unlocked. They had Boston Rob on there, and there's 2 points that Boston Rob made. But the first one was that he bet, I want to say it was him, it could have been Jerry O'Connell, but one of them bet that Big Brother has more babies and marriages versus like the Bachelor and Bachelorette. And I bet that's totally
probably true.
But the other thing that Boston Rob said that just really had me feeling seen is, why is everyone always crying? And Derek said by like halfway through the season, every single night, he would lay down in his bed and get into the covers and just silently sob. So even Derek, of all people, so like, there's definitely some psychological turmoil that you go through.
High pressure.
And so I feel for them. I want to be a little bit like nicer in my outlook on people, because I think that's why I'm trying to like be more gentle, I guess. Like, I don't hate Mickey. I think Mickey's just under extreme stress, and it causes people to act a certain way. I mean, I do it too. Like, we all do it. We all act a certain way when we're all super stressed. I think Vince was really hard on himself by not going after Rachel. It was the right thing for his game to backdoor Rachel. It would have been the craziest move. He probably would have won the game right then and there if he had actually backdoored Rachel. But instead, every week, the house is getting backdoored by themselves, believing that the target is going to stay on the block, because the target never stays on the block. So my hope for the coming weeks is that we get a like good old-fashioned backdoor. I want to see one. We have enough big players.
Yeah, they're all playing it very safe right now. It is like a matter of who makes the first move right now, at least within that Judges Alliance, call it. Because also you could have said Rachel would have felt bad for not getting Vince evicted last.
I think Rachel would have done it. I think Rachel, because what happened is the reason Vince didn't go out on Rachel's HOH is, one, I'm pretty sure he pulled himself off of the block.
I think so too.
But two, they had solidified the Judges Alliance right before that vote, which is what saved Morgan and sent Riley out.
Yeah.
So it was, I think for that, it was more of a timing thing, but I don't think that Rachel would let that opportunity pass again. Yeah. I really, really don't.
I don't know. It seemed like they got very close this week, her and Vince. So let's see if she's willing to continue to play with him, or if that was all just to please him since he was HOH and stay out of his
She
radar.
doesn't want to instigate something and get put up on the block. She knows it wouldn't have taken much to convince him to put her on the block. But I will say, in compliments to you, I admire your optimism in the loyalty between Vince and Rachel, because I don't think
I just say it because even her going to Vince with the whole Keanu thing and like all that stuff playing out, it did seem like she wants to a certain extent, establish some trust with him. And
she didn't want to go on the block. But I digress. she knew it wasn't. There was a reason why right before the veto, she tried to like sit in that room and sit with him for as long as she could, so she would be the last person to speak to him before using the veto. That's why she did it, because she knew the risk was there. And she knows the risk was there because she knows he wanted to do it, and she knows that she would do it because she knows it was the smart move for him to get her out. And he didn't. Thank God for Morgan's little Delulu self.
So, who wins HOH next week?
Oh, gosh.
Or who would you like?
You know what? I had this like weird vision that Mickey was going.
Mickey,
Can you imagine? Wow. I mean, Mickey's been winning. She's on a little bit of a streak. I would hate to see a Mickey HOH. No offense to Mickey. I'm sure she's a very nice person outside of this house. I loved her in the beginning. I could see her winning an HOH though. I could see Lauren winning another HOH, and I think that would be very dangerous. I think Vince would be on the chopping block for sure. Rachel would be on the chopping block for sure.
I would like to see either Will or Ashley win. I feel like they've been playing a really good game, but it's because they haven't had to make any decisions. They've been more like people that decide once nominations are up, but they haven't been the people to have to nominate people. Yeah. And I feel like it would be interesting to see Will and Ashley with some power, how they handle that. Do they go on a power trip? Because that happens a lot of times. People are really cool until they all of a sudden find themselves with a little power, and then they turn into somebody else.
For sure.
So
I think that, they have been working in the shadows, but I just think they can't win. I mean, Will can't even pay attention in a basic conversation. I don't know if he knows what's going on half the time. And I think it's working to his advantage.
It's
like,
working great
I
for
would
him.
be dealing, he's like ADHD squirrel all day long, and I'm like, good for you, Will. I would probably be the same way. I don't want to listen to these kids talk about their feelings all day long. After about 5 minutes, I'm good. You don't gotta drone on and on.
It was funny how Morgan was like talking to him like, I love talking to you because you actually like listen to me, and he's like, yeah, sure. And
he was like, yeah
30 minutes later she tells him something. He's like, you haven't told me that. She's like, I told you like 30 minutes ago.
Oh no, this was Mickey. Yeah, this was Mickey and Will in the bathroom, and Mickey was going on and on and on, and
it was Mickey and Will.
And then Will was like, "Well, I never heard that." Mickey was like, "I told you that, like 20 minutes ago." And then they're like, blah, 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 rewind the whole situation, and she says the exact same thing. He's like, yeah. So, but I just don't think that winning challenges, winning competitions, is their strong suit, and that's okay. Yeah. That's gameplay.
I don't even know if they need to. They're not a target, so why would you put yourself in a situation to win a competition to then become a target?
They're in a really good spot right now. Everybody loves.
Nobody's targeting them.
Nobody. They're really safe. They don't need to make any decisions. Sure. They're trusted by all the people who are making decisions. I think the big players right now are Vince, Rachel, Morgan. I want to sprinkle a Lauren in there.
And those probably the people that are a risk of getting voted out are probably the people that are going to try and go hard for the HOH. So you are right. A Mickey is probably going to go hard for it. Rachel, she probably feels like she skated by this week.
She knows she did.
Keanu, with his now being obsessed with getting Rachel out, is probably going to try and win an HOH. Do you think if he wins HOH, he's going to nominate Rachel?
I think that was the point of him going to Vince, trying to get Vince to it, but at this point, yeah, I think
Because he kind of did show her his cards to even Rachel.
Yeah,
like,
I think Rachel
not letting Rachel speak to Vince.
Yeah,
that whole thing was.
I think that their frenemies crumbled as quickly as it came together. So yeah, Rachel's definitely in trouble. I mean, of course it's funny because I think we were saying for weeks we would love to see Keanu in an HOH, and now I don't know. I feel like Keanu just is back to his little messy gameplay. I don't know if I really want to have to see it. Sometimes those kinds of HOHs are really hard to watch. I feel like a wild card would be Kelly. I think Kelly really needs to win because Kelly is on the outs of the whole house, it seems, and Kelly has a lot of vendettas against people. And I think she would just I think she would go scorched earth on the house. Because she doesn't have any loyalty to anybody but herself. And so I think that would be an interesting situation. I think everybody would be in trouble with her. And I don't know if I really want to see a Mickey HOH. I don't know if I want to see a Keanu HOH. But I feel like we could see Lauren, because I feel like Lauren is kind of like in a corner of, like, two of my closest people just went home, and a person that I was really close with is really partly the reason.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really interesting
to see what she does.
And who she
does she nominate Vince
right off the bat? Does she try to backdoor him?
Well, Vince definitely got, she was so tight with Vince. She took Vince. That's how Vince got off the block the week before, right? With the Rachel was Lauren used the veto on him. Yeah. And for him to come back around and get Katherine voted out, wow.
Especially when, realistically, the better choice was Rachel, and Lauren knew that, and Vince knew that, and he still went against Lauren. The one person that I think needs to win HOH, just from a game, jury votes, if they actually want to win the game, is Morgan. Morgan needs to win an HOH, in my opinion. I think she's come really close. I think she really needs to win an HOH. I don't know what she would do. I think Rachel would be safe. I think Vince would be safe.
I think she would go with the judge. She clearly wants to stick with the judges.
I think it would be a safe week in the house for the Judges Alliance and that crew associated, even though the house is getting really small right now, so we're running out of options here. So that's also why they need to end.
But I think she would go after Mickey.
For sure. I think Mickey would probably be her top choice. I think
Mickey's days are numbered unless she wins competition.
I think Morgan would definitely want to be the one to take the shot at Mickey, at Keanu, at Kelly. I think those are the top people. And maybe even Lauren. I think if she had to make 4 noms, those would be her 4 noms. It would be super easy breezy for her. Do I necessarily want to see a safe week? No, but I do think that she needs to win HOH. Just from a game, resume perspective, I think she really needs to win an HOH.
With that, guys, I think we have covered week 7 of Big Brother. We're getting down to the wire here.
It's about to get
Jury
tight.
House is about to pop off.
Any week now.
Probably going into next week. Yes.
It could be this week.
We haven't seen J-O-double-D double eviction.
You want to try that again? It was J-U-double-D.
J-U-double-D. We haven't seen a J-U-double-D double eviction.
Good old Judd.
A little Judd double-D eviction.
A little deep tracks. We do need a good double.
And we know that has to happen soon too. We haven't had any double evictions this season.
Man, let this be the week. Let this be the week that we end Mastermind, we end Blockbuster, we get a double eviction,
and we start the Jury House,
and we get a backdoor. Those are the things that, and maybe bonus, we start the Jury House this week. That is our wish list, and I think that is the best way to end this week's recap of Our Cloud and Must Be Covered.
And just very quickly there, just really quick point. The reason that a backdoor couldn't happen was because of the Blockbuster.
Yes. No. Vote no on Blockbusters.
Yes. Blockbusters need to go. I think Blockbusters, we enjoyed you while you were around, but at this point, you're really not letting people play the game the way the game is supposed to be played.
That's a lie. It was fun for 2 weeks, and then we endured it. Much our displeasure. Please end it. Goodbye.
Please end it.
Farewell to Blockbusters. And farewell
to all the people out there. But before you do
clouds.
that, like the video,
Like it.
comment on the
Comment.
video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you get notifications every time we upload a new video. And we'll see you here next time for our week 8 recap of Big Brother. Peace out.
Good night.